Welcome to Fireside Knicks. My name is Alex Wilson, my co-host here, Brett Hanfling. And today we're here to welcome you to the first victory of the New York Knicks regular season. And what a win it was, my friends. If you're a Knicks fan, you've been waiting for this moment for a very, very long time. You've been waiting to start the season with a win, double OT against Boston. New additions like Evan Fournier, Kemba Walker, Fournier having a hell of a game. And Brett, my man, was at the game enjoying that MSG atmosphere. And how was it, my friend? How was that experience?
Yeah, so Alex, before I actually get into the game, let me just say how refreshingly exciting it is to go into a season genuinely excited, confident that we're to be good. I've been to a lot of home openers, and you could sort of fake the excitement in the first game because the first game is always exciting, but there's a different type of energy knowing that the whole season could be exciting and the Knicks could actually, go to the playoffs. They should go to the playoffs and could win a first round matchup. So I'm just happy that we're in a whole new stratosphere as a Knicks fan in terms of just the whole mental and emotional side to it. I was in the building, was lucky enough to be there. The energy, I got there early. The energy was palpable early. The starting lineups were loud as they have been in years. Kemba got a roaring ovation, obviously Julius and RJ. And I was, the crowd was so hyped. I was a little worried that the Knicks were going to let us down, but, they came out. Yeah, they came out hot. We're up 10, just a quick summary. We were up 11 in the fourth quarter and we sort of blew it. But we came back, double overtime win, 138-134. It was really just a great night to start the season.
It was brilliant. Even watching it on television, I miss Clyde, commentating, and that sucked. But end of the day, we saw some of those guys we needed to take a step forward really come and do that, right? Fournier coming in, hitting, I think, 3 or 4 3-point shots in overtime, really gave us that edge. He had a great game. If he get 4 steals on the evening as well. Altogether, I was really impressed with the scoring efficiency of this team, and that's really what we've been waiting for. A team that's able to put up 120, 140 points to just squeak out a victory like that. It's a scoring league now. 3-point shooting is as relevant as it's ever been, and bringing in Fournier, Kemba Walker, high-efficiency shooters from range is going to be massive for this. We saw what Fournier can do. He can create his twisting and turning underneath the basket to try and get some baskets there. That's Reggie Bullock's dream. He dreams of doing that. You know what I mean? So
yeah, people were saying, how big of a difference is Fournier and Bullock when we signed for? It's huge. I was at the game with my brother, who is, he's a big basketball fan, but he's not crazy like me. And in the beginning of the game, he said, "What's Fournier's deal? Is he worth the money?" And I said, "Yes, he's a professional scorer." Well, you're shaking your head to worth the money. Let's just whatever. He's a professional scorer. He's crafty. He's confident. He's a really good shooter, and he brings a poise to the team. He was huge in the clutch. He was 6 for 13 from 3. The league is moving towards shooting. Not even moving. It has the last 5 years. And he probably right off the bat's our best 3-point shooter. Kemba's a good shooter. Kemba was 3 for 4 from 3. Julius's 3-point shot was great last year, and he was, he had 3 threes last night. RJ's shot has been getting better over years. So, one of the most important traits in basketball, the Knicks finally have. I really do think we have good shooting.
And aside from shooting, talk about like the defensive, efficiency. They kind of struggled early on. The first and fourth quarters, they gave up some points, but second and third quarter there, they only gave up 47, 48 points. So really nice efficiency there. Really saw some good defense at times. Of course, Julius Randle and Fournier really combined for 67 points or something like that. Like
it's the first time in Knicks history that 2 players have scored 30 plus in the home opener, or just the opener at all. Yeah.
And that's what we should expect from this team. They have multiple players who can post 20 plus points every single game, which if you look at Orlando, who we have on Friday night, they are in shambles. Like they're going to be a bad team this year. They're still rebuilding. Their bench is absolutely horrendous. They're really going to be running a lot through Jalen Suggs, their rookie star, trying to get to the star level at least. And ultimately they're just not there yet. Like they're still a building organization. The Knicks should steamroll them, knock on wood. I don't want to say anything because I'm still on like the 10 years of being a Knicks fan is just like, okay, Don't get too ahead of yourself. Don't get too excited. Let's beat bad teams before we can say this is a really good team that's taken a step forward, right?
Right. And another thing that stuck out last night was the depth that the Knicks have. And I tweeted about it this morning and it got a lot of comments because, I'm not complaining, but we're really deep. You saw it last night because we have the starting lineup. And then not in the starting lineup, you have Obi, who played 28 minutes and looked really good. You have Rose, who's not a starter. Quickly, who was the guy who sort of lost the minutes last night. Alec Burks. You have Grimes and Deuce McBride, the rookies, who aren't going to play that much. But we're deep. We really are deep. Randall, Barrett, and Fournier to play big minutes. Mitch looked good last night. He used to play a bunch of minutes, but Nerlens and Taj were out. So we have 10, 12 guys that really could, sort of in a vacuum on any random team deserve minutes. So it is going to be a little tricky for Tibbs to figure it out, but it's definitely a better problem to have than not have. Our bench is it really is as
So
good as any
deep.
bench in the league.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be a big part of our success this year.
I mean, look, there's a couple of kind of hidden factors that played a big part in this win. One of them being Obi Toppin in transition. He's the type of player, if you're at home, you're at MSG, he makes those big dunks, those big transition plays. He electrifies the stadium. He electrifies the team. And those moments, basketball is a very momentous game, right? Like if you get a couple of baskets, bam, you're on a 10-0 run. You're not on a 12-0 run. You give yourself that cushion. Toppin is a spark plug to that. He has a big dunk in transition. He dunked over 2 guys. He looked awesome. He missed his 3-point attempts, but that's okay,
No, yeah, it's true. I mean, it started, he had some big dunks last year, but his dunks in the playoffs last year, it brought the crowd to a whole new level. He had 2 fast break, and they get it to him. They know it's not just worth 2 points because there was one where I think D Rose probably could have laid it up, but got it out to Obi, and it's worth more than 2 points when it pumps the crowd up like that. The alley-oop was sick. I forget whose head he jammed on right over him. And he just looks more comfortable. He was so out of sort last year in a bunch of ways. It was his rookie season. He wasn't getting that much minutes, so it's hard to get comfortable. He just looked like he was taking his time. He didn't hit his threes, but they looked better. His form looked pretty good. And, I was behind the Knicks bench. He was just like engaged. He was into it. He was cheering for his team. Obi's going to be a big part of this team, and I'm happy about it.
Me too. I think, his development, and Julius Randle said after the game that he saw him working every single day and that he's doing everything necessary to be a good player in this league. And that's where he said, you have to be working. You got to work. You got to want it. And Obi Toppin wants it, right? He played, let's see, he played 28 minutes last night. So that's crazy. 14 points.
6 for 9 shooting.
Yeah, and he had 5 rebounds. He looked good. 2 offensive rebounds. And aside from Toppin, the one other player that really stood out to me was RJ Barrett, right? He finished the first half with 0 points. He ended up with 19. His second half performance was elite, stellar. He played good defense. He was scoring. He was hitting his shots. Ultimately, I was very impressed. RJ Barrett bounced back when was shot over 50% from the field, about 45% from 3-point range, 19 points, 2 blocks, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. He didn't turn the ball over 1 time. His performance yesterday was a huge indication. The first half, people were like, what's going on? Why aren't they getting RJ the ball? Huge indication he is in for a massive year 3.
Yeah, well, it sort of goes back to the depth thing. So in the beginning of the game, it wasn't that he was missing shots or wasn't into it. We just had other guys scoring. Randall came out scoring. Fournier came out scoring. He actually didn't.
Shots too.
Kemba took shots. He didn't get that many touches in the first few minutes. But it didn't deter him. And it's going to sort of happen this season. RJ is obviously a big part of the team, but there's going to be times where he has a slow start, or even in the fourth quarter, some other guys are finishing. But you're right. He had 11 points in the third quarter. It ended with, I think, an N1, or maybe he went to the line. It was 20 seconds left in the third quarter, and the crowd was chanting RJ Barrett. And it was just amazing to see because, he's our guy. He's, the third pick from 2 years ago. He is a big part of this team right now. He's a huge part of how, high our ceiling could be this year, but really the next 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty confident RJ Barrett's going to end up being a major part of this team. He already is. And if he can continue to make and take that role to another level and really work together with Randall and find and carve out that offensive role on this team with so many mouths to feed, so many scorers, like that's really where I see him, becoming this player that could be an all-star level player in the future. I think, there's just so much talent. One guy that also stood out, Mitchell Robinson, man, him coming
Yeah,
in here and
definitely.
playing 34 minutes and picking up the slack. That was heroic to me. I mean, the guy has no stamina. He's barely had any time to get into basketball shape. He had 17 rebounds. 17 rebounds.
Yeah, so he noticeably put on weight. He noticeably out of shape, not out of shape, but he maybe is like straight condition because he was
fatigue.
He was huffing and puffing at some point, but he was played a lot and he was playing hard. He had 17 boards. People forget because he missed the whole playoff run. He is a really good player. He's a really good rebounder. He's a really good shot blocker. He had some massive boards. It's either first or second overtime, about an even game. They had an open three. They missed it. And it's one of those threes that just, it's anyone's ball, goes high. And he went up and grabbed it. No one was even close.
Boston's bigs are weak too, and they're small.
Yeah, they played Bob Williams a lot of the game. They played him 45 minutes, and he wasn't that big of a part of their team last year. I was surprised they didn't play Enes Kanter. I know most Knicks fans don't like him, but I actually think he's a good player.
He's fine.
He's fine, but
he's fine.
Fine when you don't have that good of bigs is decent.
That's true.
But yeah, Mitch was great. Fournier was great. Barrett was great. Randall was great. Toppin was good. Rose, was a little out of sorts.
He had a couple of moments where he was running full speed that he looked like he was vintage. He had a couple of good moments.
Yeah, he put the game away. He
did
put the game away on a runner off the backboard.
Yeah, and I think he's still trying to find. It's going to take a couple games for him because he's used to starting. Really, I mean, he's kind of was that guy last year that they needed, and now they're trying to figure out like what combinations are we going to use him with? Like Tom Thibodeau has a lot of work to do, man. Like finding the right combos on a game by game basis to mitigate fatigue, to spark a run, whatever it might be. It's tough. Like I envy him for how well he's done. Exactly, keep players engaged, keep them on their toes. Like quickly even got involved. I mean, Jericho Sims had 7 minutes for
I was surprised Jericho Sims was in the first quarter.
I saw that too. I was like, wow, good for him, man. I was happy for him to get in there. He was
decent. He didn't go back in. I mean, I don't think he scored. Let's say, yeah, he didn't score. He had a rebound, but he was engaged.
Yeah, he was. And I was pretty excited to see. I mean, they got Burks, Rose, and Toppin plenty of minutes. And I think the reason that Toppin played a lot though was because they didn't have a center. They were playing a lot of Julius Randle Toppin combos to try and mitigate that center situation and kind of give Mitch some breathing room at times. But I will say, like, they're both capable scorers. Like, they can both shoot. They can both get into good position. Julius Randle when Julius Randle drives to the paint, I don't know how he gets some of these shots in. Like, I'm watching on the angles on television, and it's crazy how he manages to get these in. It's so impressive.
Yeah, he contorts his body. He fades away. His touch has gotten better. It looks like bad shots, but it's just gotten better.
He's a superstar.
He's a superstar. I mean, this was important for him to play a good game after, he had the crappy playoffs. And, there's some faction of Knicks fans that are saying, we can't do it in the playoffs, which is dumb. He had a bad series, but doesn't mean he can't do it. And he came back. He scored 35 points in the season opener. And, I'm expecting another all-star season out of Julius.
Yeah, me too. And to wrap up this episode, Brett, let me ask you, what do you think the 3 keys to stopping or beating Orlando is? I mean, there's probably just one. Don't play down to them. But if there's maybe 3 things you have in mind, what are you looking for?
It's stay aggressive. Fournier, RJ, and Randall, stay aggressive. Those are going to be our 3 big scorers. Hopefully we just shoot the ball well with Kemba, with Fournier, with RJ, maybe quickly with some energy off the bench. And then what you said is probably the big one. Stay engaged. It's only game 2. Orlando's 0-1, but it's only game 2. Got to come out and take care of business.
Yeah, I agree. I think, limiting Suggs, he's a rookie, but the guy's a stud. He can break at any moment. We don't know.
I'm excited to see him, actually.
Yeah, Mo Bamba, I think he hit 3 of 4 3-point attempts. That efficiency will not remain. He's like a 32% shooter last year, so not that great.
And one more. Don't let AD Brad Zinkus get hot. He played 19. I think he played 19 minutes for Orlando in their game 1.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like, their bench is so bad. Like, once they really start to reach into those bench players, we're going to tire them out pretty easily, I think. And then once they start dipping into the Iggies, we're going to be in clear shape. Yeah. We got some studs on the bench ourselves. I don't think we're going to miss a beat. And realistically, like, this is a game that we should win. And again, like the number one key for me, don't play down to your competition.
Yeah, that's true.
Rebound, score efficiently, don't be lazy, dominate, play hard all game. Because Tom Thibodeau won't let these guys play weak, won't let these guys play
Exactly.
lazy.
Yeah.
He was like, I remember after the game, they're like, "Are you happy, Tibbs?" And he was like, "I'm never happy."
Never.
Like,
Never.
I love it. And I love that mentality. Just always on
He's sort of
100, always keeping it real.
He's sort of playing into that joke now, but it's also real. So it's good. It's really good. Yeah.
He is. He's playing the media like a fiddle.
And we'll be back next week. You know, the game Friday, game Sunday, we'll be back next week. A lot to talk about. And, you know, hopefully we're 3-0 when we come back.
Absolutely, guys. So I hope you enjoyed episode 2 of Fireside Knicks. Peace out from your co-hosts, Alex and Brett. We'll catch you guys on the next Knicks episode.
Go Knicks, baby. Let's go.
Let's go.